right, welcome back to another episode of Student of the Game. I am blessed to have a special guest with me again. Started off at Louisville Cardinals before transferring to the San Diego State Aztecs. After that, played in at least six different countries: Greece, Mexico, Argentina, Puerto Rico, the D League, and Uruguay, to my knowledge, and at least 9 years professionally before hanging it up. I am blessed to have my man, teammate, and fellow friend and a brother, Lorrenzo Wade. Welcome, brother. Welcome. I appreciate you being able to make it on, man.
Man, thank you for having me. I need to have you introduce me when I walk into the house sometimes so the kids know what's up.
Right on, man. A pleasure to see you always, man. Pleasure to chop it up with you, man. We were just talking a little bit about your son just having a championship game, losing by one. That always stings a little bit. But talk to us a little about how that went, man.
It's an everyday process, right? You gotta be able to see the long game as a parent. From the sidelines, especially as a former player. My son and I are built very different from a physical standpoint. I think at his age, from a skill set, he's more skilled than I was at his age, but I was bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, all of that. Um, he's not in the car with me. We went to the game together, but I actually had him not ride home with me uh, because I know I can't help myself but to dive into the game and what I saw. And I think
Exactly.
it's a little bit overwhelming for him without
Yeah.
seeing film. So there's a parent that always films and she sends out an email with the games. So I wait until I get the game. I'm able to go back and watch it and then break it down to him. Without that, otherwise, you're just beating him up without him even remembering what was going on.
Hey, you know what? That's heavy because this is heavy for a lot of parents that are out there, or at least for parents that were former players. Considering myself and my son, because man, at times I just feel like it's only my kid or it's only me going through what I'm going through with my kid because like you said, it can get really frustrating. Trying to get the message across, and with these young kids, my son is 10, stubborn. He don't like listening in the first place. But you said that you guys are utilizing film, and that's a great strategy because after the games, I be going in as well, and there'll be certain things that he don't remember about the game, and
Yeah,
I'm like, how do you not remember
yeah,
what? And it's like, so it's hard to try and go back and try to and critique constructively when he doesn't remember what happens, and he kind of gets that look of discouragement, that look of like, okay, I'm not really trying to listen to this right now, and just a look of just misunderstanding, man. So I can understand the frustration as a former player and a parent that you're going through. um it's not an easy process, like you said, man. It's not an easy process.
oh, not at
Takes a lot
all.
of reps.
I think that the moments in the game as a parent they burn into your brain, right? Right, but you sometimes forget that you have so much more wisdom, and I'm right a lot of the time about the things that I talk to my son about. But I explain to him that some of the most wise people you've met were probably some of the most stupid people once upon a time, right? Um,
Absolutely.
Wisdom comes a lot of the time from bumping your head. And the price you pay for wisdom is years of your life, right? And I have to take a step back and understand that he's just a kid. He's a young man. Let me not say that because I've never been a fan of that. He's just a kid thing. Um,
Yeah,
he's a young man, and I have to help him understand how to process the game, understand how to process conversations. And I'm big on telling him take what you need and leave the rest. Right. Some of the stuff that I say um, should go in one ear and out of the other because it might be based on the moment and being a little bit frustrated and what's taking place, at that time. I try to remind him, I love you. We're in this together, right? I'll go to the end of the
yeah,
earth to make sure that you're able to see your dream through. Um, yeah, a lot of times, we get to going, realizing that they don't even understand. Not even they don't even understand the basketball lingo because when you start
yeah,
talking, right, you'll say something that you didn't learn until you were 18 or 19 years old, and you
yeah.
expect them to just know it, right? By
Exactly.
osmosis. You're my son, so you should know. And it's like,
Exactly. And that's the consensus, man. I feel like that's across the board because it's like I've been telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you over and over and over again. How come you're not understanding this? And it's like you said, giving them that grace and understanding that they are a young man still trying to develop their brains and learn how to process things, like you said, man. So that's definitely a thing. Not even just in basketball, but just as a parent in general. Our kids are so intelligent that we expect them to understand and know more than they do or than they should. So that's great advice, man.
yeah,
That's heavy.
the kids, it's different. We come from an outside uh, childhood where
Yeah,
you had to learn things on the fly and you had to solve problems really, really quickly, right? Because it was a difference between, excuse my language, I know, listening between getting home safe and getting your ass kicked, right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
had to figure that out. These kids don't have that, and I think we're really tough on them sometimes because we came up a certain way, right? And we always feel like if I had what you had, or if I
exactly.
had if I had these amenities or these sneakers or this whatever, um, not realizing that kind of being raised in the fire is what made us who we are today.
Exactly.
And our children will never be like us. And I think we did that intentionally, and sometimes we beat them up because of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's exact. It's crazy because I was gonna ask you that exact question. You know, our generation is very different. Like you said, we come from the outside. You said the fire. I mean, you gotta shield up. You gotta learn how to maneuver when you're out there. And I believe that the generation just being in the house a lot more. I mean, I was talking to Amanda about it the other day, and a lot of the screen time, as well that they're in front of. I just think that just melts their brain, and they don't have that grit that we had when we were growing up. And you said like getting not even just that, but being able to go outside and get some reps in and get scraped up a little bit to get toughened up, man. So no, it's definitely a factor that's going into this generation. And I'm noticing it today
It's not
as
just
I'm
this,
started coaching.
it's not just this generation. I don't think that you're gonna think this sounds funny. I blame America's Most Wanted. You're gonna think this sounds wild, but remember in like the '90s when we were kids, right? They were like, these kids are getting taken. They're being abducted. And
Yeah,
listen, this is a real issue around the
it
world.
is.
But there's a certain level of fear that's been established, especially in mothers. And they believe that if their children are out of their sight for 1 second, they are gone.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you that the majority of children are annoying and they will get dropped back off. Um, I'm just, I'm just saying, and moms lately, especially with little boys, they coddle them in a particular way. Um, and it's a different society that we're living in. We have to do a better job as men of helping both sides understand that it's difficult out here in the world for a man. Um, and I say this to my son's mom all the time. I'm like, look, I know you might not like the way that I do things sometimes, and I'm not perfect. You have to understand, like, this is his first time here as a child, but you have to understand it's my first time here as a parent as well. Um, so I'll give him grace. Please give me some. because I'm a byproduct of the way that my parents parented. Um, I'm I'm not an advocate for being out here whooping ass left and right, because I think a lot of the stuff that we were going through back in the day uh, was not okay.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was not okay, but I believe that there is room for tough love. Um, and sometimes it has to be what it is, and let the children know after the fact, like, look, I love you, and this is the reason why this has to be this way, and especially for young men, it has to be that way, just because that is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's important. And hopefully this message gets out to a lot of the moms out there. Because I think it's, because we're so different in our nature, men and women, women being the nurturing factor, and especially with men needing sons. I mean, as fathers, the sons need their father to direct them in that same direction. Because just like you said, man, mothers coddle their sons in a certain way that's nurturing, but at the same time, they need that tough love to understand, what the world is actually about. Trying to prepare them for that world, trying to prepare them for the people that are going to come at them, the people that are going to talk shit to them, the people that are going to, the bullies and whatnot, or whatever the case is. They need to understand that process. Um, so that's huge. And I was thinking about that the other day when I was picking up my kids. When you see kids walking down the street, or when I see kids walking down the street, I'm like, man, that's not a thing anymore. I'm almost become accustomed to the new ways of society myself, and it's like, man, like, are they okay? Are they good walking home like that? Knowing that's what we did every single day as we were growing up, man. So yeah, man, that's huge.
Yeah,
So let's go. Let's
that's
take a.
why
Go ahead.
real quick, not to cut you off. I feel like that's why we live in an era where everything has a name kind of right now. I think that's why so many, not just children, but people deal with a lot of social anxiety and things of that sort, because we have the option to be in a place or not to be in a place, where a lot of the stuff that used to go on, we had to deal with it. Bullying is a huge thing, right? Um, but it gave some of us a little bit, thicker
Yeah,
skin, right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
understood, and we could differentiate, if someone was actually being mean to us or if they were being playful to us. Um, and the truth sometimes needs to be said. And today, you can't really tell the truth without someone saying that you're, trying to make them feel bad.
Yeah.
So, um, I think we definitely need to pay close attention to that. The phone screens, I mean, so once upon a time, we used to have to walk up. Let's even talk about women, right? If you wanted to talk to a young woman, or when you met your wife, right, you had to put boots on the ground and walk up to her,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? You had to get over that anxiety of walking up to her. You had to get over the potential embarrassment of the walk away if she was like, "Get out of my face," right?
And the rejection, right?
You understand what I'm saying? And that those things
Yeah.
happen in real time. So you had to think quickly. Where
Yeah.
now everything is done behind a screen or in a DM
Yeah.
or in a text message. So
Safe.
so everything is so perfect. People don't know
Yeah.
how to deal with it when it's no longer perfect, right? You can type a
Yeah.
message and then delete it, type it, reread it, and then by the time you send it over, it's your best work. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so when you have to deal with things
Yeah.
when you have to deal with things in real time now, it's like I have anxiety and I can't go and I can't do, and I'm not saying anything. We all deal with our stuff. I deal with nervousness and things as well sometimes, and I do talk to my son about that. I'm like, look, man, there's a difference between anxiousness and nervousness, or anxiety and being scared. There's a difference, and we just kind of clump them all together, give it one name, um, and then say we got to keep you away from it. I don't think that works. Hopefully, no one thinks I'm an asshole after this.
Hey man, the kids need it these days, man. I just started coaching my son's team about a month ago, and it's in a lot of the kids, man. It's in a lot of the kids. It's like we're doing a box out drill, and nobody wants to put a body on anyone. It's like afraid of contact. Like basketball is a contact sport, and like you want to win, you gotta box somebody out. And so this this the upcoming generation needs to have some type of exposure to that grit, like you said, man. And it's unfortunately, I'm trying to figure out how to navigate around that. And if it doesn't happen, the world of basketball is going to continue to change. And like, we talk about Rodman days, it was extra physical, back in our days. It's not as physical anymore, the flopping and just the complaining and all that other sorts. And so
Yeah,
I'm trying to find myself and navigate around trying to figure out how to toughen these kids up a little bit to get that more to be more aggressive, like just that have it inside of them.
yeah. The best thing you can do for anyone is to give your best effort, right?
Yeah.
When I get out on the court, I need to give you my best effort so you can gauge exactly where you stand. We can compete at the highest level, and that's typically how you develop and form friendships. Um, Now we don't want to hurt anyone or upset anyone, and I tell
Right.
myself like, look, man, you're not gonna hurt anybody, even if you try. Like,
Right.
I know you see these movies and I know you see these video games. I'm here to tell you, this 120 pounds you got ain't changing anything. You are fine. You're not gonna hurt the ball if you throw it too hard. You're not gonna hurt nobody if you run into them. Trust me, you'll be okay. And I think that a lot of these kids are really, really nice people. Um, and I would prefer for you to be a good person instead of a nice person. Nice people get run over. Nice people finish last. Good people do the right thing. Um, but to be a good friend or to be a good teammate, go out there and give me 100% of what you got, so I know where I stand. And you and I went at it. You got to think when in my transfer year, when I had to sit out and then came in and Coach Fish start you one game, start me another game, blah blah blah, and we had to figure it out.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah,
to figure
absolutely.
we had to figure it out. And then we had to go back because we lived together. So this is even crazy. Like, you understand? We gotta throw that out the window because we live
Yeah.
together. I'm like, man, I'm sick of this dude. And then we got to share the same stove to make ramen noodles. This is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's heavy. That's funny that you bring that up because I was thinking about it too. I was
Yeah.
thinking about that same thing, and that's heavy for people to understand. Going into college, people that are in college right now. Not every situation is going to be the situation that fits you. You're gonna find yourself in adversity. Like myself, like yourself, even with you, having to transfer from Louisville to San Diego State. Those things happen, and it all goes into mindset, which I kind of want to talk to about in a minute. But I want to go back and ask you, how you got started playing basketball, man. How did that get started for you? And how did you end up, getting to where you were
So
as far as playing professionally?
so I have really, really young parents. I'm from Compton, California originally. Uh, my mom was 15 when she had me. Dad was 17, so they were still kids. Um, the funny part was how I started playing basketball was my dad used to go to the park all the time, but he was kind of immature to start as a parent, and he never wanted to take me with him. So I realized if I would sit and just wait when it was time for him to go to the park with my basketball stuff, my mom would make him take me to the park, but he would never let me play. So I would just sit and watch and watch and watch. And I actually got better at basketball, not to sound corny, so that I could go to the park with my father. And it just kind of spun off from there. I was in a I got a tan right now. I'm darker than I've ever been in my life. Uh, I'm the oldest grandchild, right? And I'm in Compton. Everybody got brothers. My parents too young for me to unless it was twins, they're too young. So everything that I'm going through, I'm fighting. I gotta be tough. And that kind of built a certain, I guess, grit, like you said, within me, that by the time we moved from California to Vegas, the kids here, because I'm in Las Vegas currently, they weren't used to that. They weren't
Yes.
accustomed to that. So for a while it was all muscle. And then eventually it started spinning off into I got taller, I got longer, got more athletic. But the truth is that basketball was only so I could go to the park to play. That was it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's why I wanted to get your story, man, for people to hear that. That's a crazy story.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story. All right. So high school. Let's talk about high school.
Right.
You going to call? How was your your experience in high school before getting your offer to go to Louisville?
Okay, so the high school process was I'm a unique story because most people that I know didn't go the route that I went. I We moved to Vegas, we moved to Henderson, and I go to Green Valley High School to start. Um, and I play on the freshman team. And all the good players, when you get to high school, if you're not playing JV, you might as well hang it up, right? And the really good freshmen are on varsity. So I'm 5'6", 5'7", like 120 pounds. Um, but I was younger than everybody
As
else.
a freshman?
Yeah,
Dang,
yeah, I was
5'6",
younger, but
5'7".
yeah, but you got to think, I was 13 years old, right? So I started my senior season at 16, so I was younger than everybody else at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I played on the freshman team. Then I got a little bit taller. My sophomore year, I'm like, oh yeah, there's no question I'm playing varsity. Bunch of guys move into town. I played JV. Um, and me and my coach were kind of the varsity coach was kind of we're kind of butting heads a little bit. And I still remember he made a comment. There was a ball player on our team by the name of Mitch Platt. He played at Oregon. Mitch was 6'9" in the eighth grade, and coach keeps telling me that Mitch is better than me. And you know me well enough to know I'm not buying that. And I'm
Yeah.
look, I'm 5'7", saying no, he's not. He makes a comment, tells me one day if I was smart, I'd shut up and ride Mitch's coattails to college. And I was never the same after that.
Mm.
We go into the summer. We're going to a Dixie State camp, which is now, I think, maybe Southern Utah University or something like that. I got invited by a great dude, Merle Ferguson, to pump and run camp at Cal State Dominguez Hills. My high school coach told me, if you go to that camp, don't come back here. I go home and I tell my mom,
Dang.
yeah, I go home, I tell my mom, I'm like, Ma, I got invited to go to this camp. Coach told me if I go to this camp, I can't come back to school here. And she basically let me make my own decision. She said, well, do whatever you want to do. I went to camp. I came back a week later and I was the number one shooting guard on the West Coast and had never played varsity basketball.
What?
Yep. It all changed in a week.
Wait, so how does that work? So what ended up happening after that?
I didn't go back to the school. I didn't think I could go back. So I was going to go back to California. I still remember my dad took me out. I visited Montclair Prep, Mater Dei, and Artesia. My family still lived in Compton, so they weren't letting me go to Dominguez. That's what we was zoned for.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Mater Dei had some wings there at the time. They didn't really know anything about me. So that was a log jam of guys that wasn't going to work. My dad said Artesia. I wasn't messing with that one. And then I went to Montclair Prep, and all the kids there were foreigners. So like nobody spoke English. And I said, no, I can't do it. And ended up here at Cheyenne High School, and the rest was history.
that's wild. That's wild. Oh man, that's a heavy story, man. Another example of adversity in the world of basketball because a lot of players are going to hit it, man. But 13 years old as a freshman, how does that happen? Did you skip a grade?
No, so I got a late birthday. So my birthday is November 23rd. So it's at the end of the year. Back in the 80s, especially in that era, people were trying to get their kids about the house. So if they could get them in school, so they ain't have to be there because parents got to work, move around, do what they doing,
Yeah,
they gonna make it happen. So they figure out how to get me in school early. Um, and that was what it was at the time. People like, oh, your kid is so smart, right? They didn't know I was going to go play basketball, right?
yeah,
If you did the math on it, I'm 16, starting my senior year. A lot of these kids are 18, about to turn 19. You give me
right.
2 more years, I'm 170 pounds at the time. 2 years later, I'm 212,
Yeah,
right? So that's a big difference.
absolutely.
Um,
2 years is huge.
yeah, 2 years is huge, but my parents, they did what they had to do. Like I said, they were kids, literally raising kids. We grew up together.
Yeah,
So
yeah. When did you hit your growth spurt?
it was my sophomore year. So my sophomore year, I was 14, turning 15. Um, And I don't recall. My son asked me about this all the time. I just remember I was 5'7", and then I was like 6'1", and then I was my height that I am now. I don't. It
Oh,
didn't feel like there was anything in between. There was like I woke up one day
yeah,
and was that. And my athleticism, started kicking in, and I started as a point guard, and that's why I could always pass the basketball.
yeah.
And after that, it was a wrap, man.
All right, man. All right. Well, talk to me about your scholarship offered to Louisville. How did that work out? How did that happen? What was that process like?
So I can tell you exactly how it happened. I'm here in Las Vegas. I'm at Durango High School. Um, Still remember the game when Coach Pitino walked in the gym. We're playing the front gym against Darrell Wright. He and I became friends after that game at the time. We're going at it. Somehow Coach P ends up on my phone and offers me a scholarship to Louisville. I'm supposed to take a visit there, but I didn't tell anybody. This is not common knowledge. I was always afraid of flying. So
Okay.
yeah. So I would like, I didn't know how to tell the coaches that. So I would book the trips and like, I just wouldn't go.
Way to go.
Wouldn't
Okay.
I just wouldn't go. So um, my first trip that was booked to Louisville, I woke up and I was like, I can't go. And I didn't go. And me and Coach Patino never talked again. I go to ABCD camp, and all I'm waiting on is Coach Calhoun from UConn to see me play, offer me the scholarship. I'm going to commit to UConn. It's a done deal. I know I'm going to ABCD so I can go to UConn. And twisted my ankle really bad in the practice before we even started camp. Like we had a walkthrough before camp even started. And right after camp was over, I called Coach Patino and asked him if he still had the scholarship available and committed. I'd never been to Kentucky. I'd never seen the campus. I didn't know what anything was like. And that's how I ended up there because I
Oh,
felt
so he
like
was receptive then.
it wasn't, you gotta know Coach P to know. I called him, he was like, hey, what's going on? I said, you still have that scholarship available? He was like, call this number, tell them you're coming to school here. And it was maybe it was the Louisville Courier Journal or something like that, the newspaper. I
Okay.
had to call a guy from the paper, and that's how it worked.
Hey, that's crazy. Hey, the world is crazy how things be happening. All right, well, explain. You get to Louisville, you call them, you tell the journal that you're coming, you get to school. At what point is it, all right, this is not a fit for me. I need to transfer.
One of my this is this is this is gonna be I gotta tell the truth, right? Tell the truth. Louisville was a perfect place for me. It was a perfect fit. I was tough enough. Coach P was the right coach. Um, I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder that I didn't realize I had until later on. So remember back at that first high school when that coach was telling me I wasn't good enough.
All right.
Well, when I get there to Rick Pitino, I got this guy telling me things that feel similar to what the first coach was telling me.
Okay.
Or maybe I was hearing it in a way that, wasn't the right way. So we butt heads, but I was tough as nails. And Coach Pitino would tell you this. I was never, I mean, we would get into it. He would have me running and running and running. We went to Maui, and Coach P's running me in Maui. We're in a hot ass gym for the Maui Invitational. Doors locked, steaming. I'm down to my tights, and I'm running up and down the court talking shit to Coach. He's running me. You know me, right?
Yeah.
Running up and down talking shit to Coach. Leaving there was probably something I shouldn't have done because I probably would have ended up in the NBA a year or two later. We
Okay.
lost Francisco Garcia as a first round draft pick. Larry O'Bannon, who was a starter, was a senior. We lost all of our wings, and we just have incoming freshmen. Um, but the true story of what took place was I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, for the Sweet 16 in Elite Eight, and I got caught with a girl in my room. Um, and I think that was Coach P was about to put me on the jet because we flew private everywhere. He's about to put me on the jet and fly me back to Kentucky. Francisco Garcia said no. keep him here. Um, After the season was over, we sat down and we talked. And I don't know any better. I'm an immature kid and I don't have a representative. Again, my parents are young, so I did everything by myself. I went on every visit by myself. When I ended up going to Hargrave Military Academy from Cheyenne High School, and I picked Hargrave. Parents never visited. Parents never did anything. It was just me, but no one was there to tell me like, "Hey, hear him out, apologize, let him know you want to be here." Um, and I was like, "All right, cool. I'll get out of here." Like, whatever. Right. I was in such a flow at that time. And that 4 year span, I went like 144 and 12. So my junior year, senior year, prep year, freshman year, I went state runner up, lost 6 games, state championship, lost 1 game, prep national championship, lost 1 game,
Mhm.
final four, lost 4 games. I thought I couldn't miss. I was like, no matter where I land, right, I'm
Yeah,
running hot. I'm running hot right now. Right. Like
yeah,
it's good. I should have stayed there in hindsight. And Coach Patino and I are still, cool to this day. But I was just a kid, maneuvering.
yeah, man. Especially, there's a lot of them out there with no guidance, man. Just having to make decisions on your own as a young man, not even dipping your foot into the real world for real, for real.
And I didn't know nothing.
That's
I didn't know nothing about life. I was just,
yeah,
I was just out trying to play basketball. And at the time, trying to find a little lady every now and again, and
yeah.
you know,
Already. So get to San Diego State. You finish your years off at San Diego State, and then I believe you go to Greece. So how was that? How was that experience, man? Your first year out of college, going over to a different country.
my first year out of college was really, really difficult for me for a slew of different reasons. Um, some of the decisions that I've made, I kind of live with a little bit of regret about those. Um, when I transferred from Louisville, I signed at the University of Washington with Lorenzo Romar,
Okay.
and at the last minute decided to go to San Diego State. Never visited the campus. Same way I ended up at Louisville. This you're getting the
Yeah, the
yeah,
sequence,
yeah,
the
yeah,
pattern.
right. Um, never visited the campus. And I declared for the draft after my junior year, and I probably should have stayed in the drafts. We were very wing heavy in the league. J.R. Giddens, who's a friend of mine to this day, was a first round draft pick out of New Mexico. You got the Lee Kumars of the world. Stuff was kind of rocking in the conference.
Yeah.
I probably should have just rolled the dice and went, but I ended up losing my grandmother. I declared, lost my grandmother, and pulled my name out of the draft. Um, and that was when everything kind of went hectic. So I went from never being in trouble. I'd never had a speeding ticket in my life to breaking my hand, fighting over $1,
Yeah.
um, going to jail over a stolen TV, um, and had a baby on the way, Zoe, my daughter. So
Yeah.
all of that happened in that short span. I ended up missing like half of that season. That's part of the reason why we didn't make the NCAA tournament, because we lost some non-conference games that
Hmm.
we probably shouldn't have lost. The committee should have taken that into account, but that's here nor there. Um,
That's another conversation.
that's another conversation. But it was tough for me because I sat and thought about how I'd worked all of this time and how everything unraveled. And this is touching on another subject. Young athletes are humans, and especially young men don't know if they're grieving or if they're hurting or if they have things going on. You have a certain persona that you're trying to uphold, and you don't realize you're in the middle of the shit until you really, till you come out of it and you look back and you're
Exactly.
like, damn, like
Yeah.
all of that. And my mom was trying to tell me. She was trying to tell me, but at the time, I'm on my way to NBA. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
That's usually how it works, man. Because like you said, like you got to bump your head a couple of times, before you get it going. And I feel like that's life in general, trying to accomplish, any dream that you have. People give you their experience, and we fail as as a human in human nature to disregard what's being told because we don't have similar experiences, or that whatever happened to them hasn't happened to us. And so it was a lot of the times we got to learn the hard way to be like, okay, that's what they were saying, that's what they were talking about.
Like when you're going all right, I'll say this. When there's like crazy things that happen on high school and college campuses, you know what's always offered? Crisis management, counselors, people to talk to. When we're away at school, we're missing a part of our normal lives, our family, our friends back home. We typically have gone away.
Absolutely.
And when things happen, people ask you if you're okay. And the automated response is yes.
Yeah, that's I mean, you
Yeah,
can't show signs of weakness. I mean,
yeah,
that's not
yeah,
a thing.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm fine. But deep down inside, like you're really just a kid. You're just a kid
Yeah.
out here trying to maneuver and trying to make it happen. So I think that people definitely need to pay closer attention to when young men in particular go through devastating things like that. Again, I didn't know I was messed up. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I just kept it going until by the grace of God, I kept my life, right? I broke a hand. I never had a broken bone in my life. That was my first one. Um, but yeah, we definitely need to make sure that we take care of these young men, young athletes as they go through things and understand that they're not machines. They are humans.
Exactly. And that's why I started this, man. And because that's important. There's so many things that factor into playing basketball, and everything is mindset, the adversity that all these kids go through. And I'm seeing it on the fourth, fifth grade level right now, to where some coaches are, stripping the confidence away from these kids. And all our self-esteem starts in our childhood. You got people and adults that are stripping the confidence, and that's going to lead into adulthood, as it happened to you, right? In high school, and somebody telling you that you're not good enough to play basketball, riding somebody else's coattails. Now that's a traumatic experience that you ended up taking with you to Louisville, and probably because of that incident, that's probably how you received whatever message you received at Louisville that made you be like, all right, I'm about to dip.
No doubt about it.
So
No doubt about it. Not no excuse. I'm a man. I made whatever decisions I made, but it sounded eerily familiar, right?
yeah,
And again, I ain't really been around a whole bunch of like white folks like that.
yeah,
Let's be real.
yeah,
So I'm a fish out of water. I come into a new environment at a school where they ask me stupid questions. Can I just talk like me? Because
absolutely.
I cuss and shit.
Hey, absolutely, bro.
They asking me stupid ass questions. And the hard part, no, I'm being for real. Like, the hard part is when you're in the community, we all know a white Mike, right?
Yeah,
Right. We know the white boy got he got the little swag about him. You know what I mean? He move around. We accept him, welcome him in. He's the homie, right? Well, I thought it was gonna be like that when I got to these environments. And the craziest part is they want you to know you are not from here
yeah,
and you are different, right?
yeah,
And you talk different and you dress
yeah,
different and your hair is different. It is you're different.
yeah,
And that in itself was a lot, right? And then I
yeah,
get with this coach who, for whatever reason, isn't trying to see whatever talent I have or doesn't like who I am as a young man, which is
yeah.
weird for an adult anyway to not, you know, like a child in that way. But yeah, by the time I got to Louisville, I had a chip on my shoulder. And the truth is I still kind of got that chip at I'll be 40 in May. I mean, I'm in November. I'll be 40. And I still kind of got that chip a little bit. Like, don't,
Yeah.
don't, don't, don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Anyone who knows Zoe knows. Zoe knows. Hey, anyone who knows Zoe. It's funny. Zoe knows.
Yeah.
Absolutely, bro. And I think, but your experiences have got you to where you're at now, man. Your mentality and the way that you navigate. And that's kind of, I got some questions for you in a minute. I just want to finish up, to talk about, um, your experiences playing overseas, man, and how that was, and how did that, how did you feel about your tenure overseas?
Overseas was a little bit different maybe for me than it was for some folks because I had my daughter during my senior year, and then I had my son
Mm.
in February of my rookie year, right? So I got two babies back to back, bang
Hey, you
bang.
already have babies.
Yeah, yeah. By the time I got a check, you know what I mean, I was busting that down multiple ways.
Yeah,
Making sure everything was straight. But I go back to the Rick Pitino days. If it wasn't for me being there at Louisville and going through what I was going through with him, I probably wouldn't have made it. But with the stuff
yeah,
that we were going through there, I was built for it tough at the time.
yeah,
There was nothing that could happen, right? When you got there internationally, as you know, from having a great career, your teammates don't want you there.
yeah.
The
No,
coldest part is the locals don't want you there because they think they're just as good as you. And then the Americans get there. It's only a couple of us, and you want to
yeah,
compete with me.
yeah.
What is going
Exactly.
What is
Yeah,
going on? Like we supposed
right,
to be sticking together. You want me to
right.
get fired left and right. Uh,
Exactly.
but the overseas experience was decent. I gave it up a little bit early for a couple of different reasons. One, my kids were starting to get a little bit older, and I was missing out on things, and I started losing a couple of family members and stuff, and it just the money was cool. Don't get it twisted. Um, but I had enough confidence in myself to say, well, we can do something else.
Yeah,
Uh, I've done what I tried to do, right, in the game of basketball. Let's go be with your family. Let's go be with your kids. Let's bring it on back home. And that's when I played in G League 1 year, and I think that was the real eye opener because once I played in the G League, I was like, I can't go back overseas. Like
yeah. It's a different life. Yeah, it's a different life. It's a grind out there, man. A lot of people are like, "Oh man, you played overseas," and it's a blessing that I played overseas. But a lot of people don't understand the culture shock and just leaving your comfort zone, and the food and the language, and it being away for 10 months or 6 to 10 months at a time away from your family. It all plays a toll. It all
yeah,
plays a
no, yeah,
toll.
yeah, without a doubt. And then for me in particular, seeing guys that I know that I
Yeah,
was better than
yeah,
in the league, um, kind of threw me off a little bit. Right,
yeah,
I'm over here. You got me practicing twice a day. You got me running with the rookies. Like
yeah,
this is you're doing too much. I can't
yeah,
I can't do this. Let me bow out gracefully, go on about my business. Towards the end of my career, I got an opportunity potentially to come back to San Diego State and do the coaching thing. So I sat up with my family, and that was one of those determining factors. I didn't know if that opportunity would be there when I was finally ready to hang them up. So
yeah,
I made the decision then to retire, to go back to school to get my degree. I worked with the team for a season, and for whatever reason, that didn't work out. We could talk about that off camera, um,
Mhm.
and it was time.
Politics, man.
Uh-huh.
I said politics, man. I mean, it's a business. I mean, everyone's got their own feelings, and everyone's dealing with their own what they've got to deal with. Like, obviously, I don't know the story, but I mean, it's not. I'm sure it's not uncommon. You know.
Yeah, no, that's one of my, it's a love hate thing, right? I don't go back to San Diego very often, um, and it's for a reason. I think that when the group of us, I mean, I'll say it, I don't give a shit, be mad at me all you want to. When the group of us came in and we had Greg Gottlieb recruiting all of us, I always give G his flowers. I get there, there's Marcus Slaughter there, Brandon Heath, Muhammad Abukar. We look like this thing is about to kick up and get rolling.
Yeah.
Um, then Greg ended up leaving. It changed things a little bit. I think the level of
Kids.
recruiting changed for a couple
Yeah.
few years until Justin Hudson, was able to start getting things rolling um, in a particular way. Um, but I think that where SDSU started at during Coach Fisher's tenure at the beginning, I don't think they were in a growing process, and I think they were able to grow on a lot of our backs
Yeah.
and learn trial and error. and some people got jobs and different things. And I think that they just need to do a better job with some of the guys. Not me in particular, because I'm fine. But when you look down that list of coaches and staff, those guys that gave you parts of their lives, you don't owe them anything per se because you gave them a scholarship. But you know, help some of those guys along. They come from rough communities, rough environments. They believed in you when you came and knocked on their door and said, "We take care of this kid or this person forever." And then
Yes.
every time you have an opportunity to, you come up with a reason why you didn't. Now, if people are mad at me, I don't give a fuck.
I mean that's real though, bro. That's the truth, man. And let's go back to talking about experiences. If you don't have someone that is understanding or has a relatable experience, the chances of you understanding where they came from are a little bit reduced. So there's a lot of room, a lot of margin of error for these for coaches and whatnot staffs to overlook that aspect of things, man. So I agree with you 1,000%, man. Like I said earlier, the game of basketball is just it's a business now, and a lot of emotion and mindset development and adversity goes into this. Again, it's the reason why I wanted to start this podcast, to give some people an insight on what to expect, how to deal with these type of things when they're going through adversity.
Yeah,
And
you have to know you have you. It's good now that these kids have teams. They have teams of people around them,
yeah,
and those teams are able to kind of be buffers and to understand what's truly really going on because we didn't realize that college basketball was a business when we were making our decisions, right? We were making our decisions based on who was nice to us
yeah,
and who said it was a family atmosphere and all of those good things. Um, but when it was all, when it's all said and done, it was a business. We just didn't know it. We didn't catch it
exactly.
until later on. I'm not mad at anyone, just so we're clear, right? Like I'm not mad at anyone. I chose not to pursue coaching even after the San Diego State thing because I'm not really a guy that's gonna be okay with getting screamed on in the office when somebody is
Yeah,
having a bad day. That's not my
yeah,
thing. Uh,
yeah.
I mean, like it's not my thing. But I do wish some of those guys were handled a little bit better. Yeah, one in
Yeah,
particular,
that's
one in particular. I wish some of those guys were handled a little bit better.
all right. All right, we ain't gonna speak on any names. But moving on to the next thing, man. A lot of players struggle with life after basketball, and that's something that my intentions are. I'm trying to bridge that gap. Part of this platform of trying to gear or help athletes start thinking about life after basketball while they're still playing. Like you have some businesses now, and you seem to have got it figured out. And so, what tip? What for? Two questions. When you retired, what was your thought process after that? Did you already know what you were going to get into? Or did you already know what like how you were going to start building? Like what was that process like for you?
No, no, not at all. Honestly, I retired because I thought that I was going to coach at San Diego State. So I
Okay.
retired there because of that. Um, and the truth is that wasn't my path. It was the easy basketball route. Okay, you go from playing basketball to recruiting players to play, at a university. It's just kind of we fall into it. It wasn't for me, and it took me some years of pondering on what was next.
Yeah.
Trying things, them not working, um, before I went into certain spaces, certain
Okay.
avenues, and they were way outside of the box of anything I would have normally done. I want to say I was involved with my first yoga studio here in Vegas. Things didn't go well over there. I ended up purchasing another studio. What happened first? I purchased a slumber party company um, called Slumber Fest Sleepovers
Okay.
from some of our clients because I kind of maneuvered into the event planning space and purchased Slumber Fest Sleepovers. Shortly thereafter, I purchased a venue space like yesterday, LV. So we did venue work there. You can rent out our space. We get it all decorated for you, sort it out. But then we also did offsite stuff. You know, we come to your house, get everything done. They kind of went hand in hand, right? If you had a party, we could incorporate Slumberfest, but also set up everything, hire DJs, whatever you need. Um, and then bought another yoga studio all around, that same time. Um, I had never worked for anyone outside of basketball before. And I felt like I might have been missing something. Like this is gonna sound crazy, but like I would drive to go through like a drive-through, and I would see people, and I'm always like, I'd like to work at McDonald's, right? To see if I'm missing a part of life that everyone had because we always hooped.
Yes.
We played. So when
Yes.
people told you about their high school job and their stories about what they did, we unfortunately weren't able to live that part of our teenage
Yes.
years, right? We've always been athletes and dedicated to being athletes. That's why
Yeah.
so many athletes, when it's all said and done, are really, really in a tough spot or they struggle because where a lot of these folks are getting a test run, right? Of what it's
Yes.
like to be an
What
adult
in the real world?
in the real world, dealing with people, um, all those good things, having bosses, right? We don't get that until our careers are done for the most part.
Yeah.
So when you look back and folks will laugh at athletes like you did this for all this time and you don't have anything, it's like, man, like all I've ever known is
Don't know.
all I've ever known is hooping.
Yeah.
All I've ever known is hooping. At the time, we weren't allowed to have agents, financial advisors, any of those things to teach us literacy about money.
Right.
And because we come from different communities, we come from places where it takes a village and everyone shares and everyone eats and everyone. So when we do get something, you already know, okay, well, here you go, and there you go, and there you go. And I think we fall victim sometimes to being nice, to
Yeah.
being nice, where we don't, for us, it's we all we got, and we're family and we can work it out together. For others, it's just business. This is the way it has to be. And we get made fun of sometimes as athletes because we don't know or didn't know any better. So I'm happy to see that these kids have teams around them now. But even when you watch these broke specials on these guys, right? People always bring up the Antoine Walkers of the world. Well, Antoine Walker did some wild things with his money, but if you look at where the majority of it went to helping people. So Antoine Walker and a lot of these guys' biggest issues are not that they were drug addicts or they were something crazy. They were literally just nice people that would have given their last because they grew up in environments where when someone gave you that dollar for the ice cream truck, it could have been their last. Or when your birthday rolls around and your auntie buys you a pair of sneakers, she might have did that instead of paying the light bill, right? There's a lot of things that went into play. So we're conditioned to be super nice people in a not so nice world.
Exactly. Just I'm gonna say ignorant. That's the wrong word. That's a harsh word, but it's just not in the know. You know what I mean? And we, like you said, we dedicate ourselves to the game of basketball, and we really don't understand or haven't experienced anything else. And that was a huge factor for me. 2017 when my career kind of like started to decline due to injuries. That was all that I knew. So I was still holding on to it. And then when I got injured and had to stop playing, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And then by that time, it's like you said, I was like, I'm having to start all over again as if I'm just getting out of college. And all these other people have, 10, 13 years of business experience or experience of getting a job where I'm just like trying to figure it out. My identity is attached to basketball. That's where I got my confidence from. So when basketball was over, my comfort and confidence was stripped from me trying to figure it out. And it still took me what 5 years, to get it situated, to finally finding my path, having vision, and be like, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, man.
Yeah.
So that's another reason, man. So, um, one tip, what is your greatest tip that you have for this generation of basketball coming up that are trying to get a scholarship and play basketball professionally? A lot of kids have dreams of playing in the NBA, playing professional basketball. Of course, not all of them are going to make it, but what tip can you give them to better their chances to getting a scholarship, to making it overseas?
Play hard and be enthusiastic.
Okay.
Play hard and be enthusiastic. Um, when the kids are on the court and they do something good, a lot of the times they don't realize like how wild that is to change direction, dribble the ball, do a spin, put the ball in the
Yeah.
hole. You need to pat yourself on the back and be happy about that. Um, but also don't get down on yourself all the time. I think we're supposed to, and I kind of stumbled over my words just now, but I'll say when a kid is on the court or when they're playing basketball, I think when they do something that um, might not be their desirable outcome, they think they're supposed to visibly show that they're upset about it. They're supposed to visibly let the world know that, man, I missed that shot. Well, let's be honest, man. Best shooters in the world shoot that shot at a 40% clip. You're going to miss 6 out of 10 of those. And if 6 out of 10 of your shots don't fall and you're pissed off 6 out of 10 times, you're going to be a really, really upset guy and a bad basketball player. Um,
Yes.
have very short term memory, right on the floor, get from one possession
Yes.
to the next, be enthusiastic with everything that you do. And I think you'll give yourself a chance. I would rather have to turn a player down than I have to turn him up. Guys are so skill based. Oh man, I'm in my bag. I'm getting my work in, et cetera, et cetera. And my son deals with this too. Where I'm like, Zo, yeah, we get in the gym. Doc, you're amazing. You're a hell of a shooter. Ball handling's up to par. That doesn't mean that when you go out in the game, you don't have to play hard as hell,
Yeah.
right? So you work out and you work out hard so that when you get in the game, you still play hard, but you're
Yes.
able to do all of those things in the middle of this stumble jumbled craziness on the basketball
Yes.
court. And I see him from time to time where last week he had a great week, right? He's in the gym, he works out with pros every day. He's on a better program than we were at in college. We were in college. When I say there's no doubt in my mind about it, no doubt in my mind. But I'm like, Zo, when you get out here on the court, do you think these kids know that you've shot thousands of shots or that you've worked out multiple times a day? No, you got to get out here, bust your ass, and show it. Kids don't play hard enough, and they shoot too many damn threes.
Yeah. Yeah. Steph Curry done messed it up for a lot of people, for a lot of these kids growing up. And I think that's big on what you said, because I think there's a big disconnect between training in the gym and translating it into the game. Um, a lot of my kids are dealing with that right now. They're getting upset with not being able to get past a guy, or not being able to shoot a basketball, or whatever the case is. One, they're not getting enough work in, but practice, they don't have the same energy in practice than they do in the game, which is definitely a factor in that translation. I think there's a disconnect between practice and the game, which I'm trying to gap, because you can get in the gym and do all that stuff, but when it comes to the game of basketball and the game, how the game is played against other people, when the lights are on, that pressure, it's a completely different ball game. And I see there's a distance. So my goal is to translate practice into the game, and hopefully establish that connection, to where, like, practice how you play, and really go into the game without that nervousness of fear. Of course, we're going to be nervous going into the game, but when we get into the game, everything kind of just goes out the window, man. And it's just like we kind of just forget how to play basketball.
But touching on practice how you play, basketball is a game of motion and it's a thinking game, right? What we tend to do is we micromanage every move, every mistake
Hmm.
while in practice. But in a game, because a guy missed his read, the game's not going to stop. It's going to keep
Right.
going. So I think practice should be a lot more playing of basketball now
Yeah.
and a little less teaching in the middle of it.
Okay. I
And
like that.
let's record because if you can see it, the film doesn't lie. If you can see it, now we can discuss it. You understand what it is, and we can go from
Yes.
there. But we have so much micromanaging. We have so many trainers. Um, and I'll say this, like, stop sending your kids to trainers that can't play basketball. Like he can't hoop.
Man.
Like he can't hoop. And I'm not saying he didn't play anywhere. He's no. I'm just telling you, like, if you were to put him in a men's league, your guy that's teaching your kids these moves, I'm cooking him.
Yeah.
And I don't even play basketball anymore, right? Cooking him. But you're letting him tell you that your son should be sidestep, step back. No, he shouldn't. He should
Right.
not. Does he know how to? Does he know how to lay the ball up with the proper hand?
Exactly, man. It's so funny. Like we go back to the layup, the foundation and the basics. It's like a lot of these kids don't even know how to do a layup.
They don't know how to do a layup. Everything is same foot, same hand. If you ask, kids are stepping back for absolutely no reason. They don't
Right.
understand why they're doing what they're doing. Um, when we were kids, I'm sure you went to some of the free camps, right? They had those free basketball camps. And at those camps, you learn the basics, defensive
Exactly.
sliding,
Pivot.
talking, pointing, right? Which directions you're going, diving after loose balls, taking a charge. If you had a camp like that now, these kids would go home and their parents would say, "This is terrible because there's no highlights
Yes.
made." Right? And these
Exactly.
parents got to stop living these kids' dreams for them. You're posting these clips so you can have a conversation. You're sending these kids to these teams where they don't play a whole bunch, but they win a bunch of games. Like, that's not it. Like, it's about development at these ages for these young kids. I don't care how many games you lose if you're developing and getting better.
Yes.
Stop running zone in elementary school. Stop running zone in middle school. Either you can guard or you can't. Because you'll put this kid
Yes.
in this program where they win a bunch of games, third through eighth grade, get to high school, and your star player can't play. Why? Because he can't defend. He's been
Right.
playing a zone his whole life, and he's getting cooked. He's on an island over here getting ISO'd to death. And it's the organization's fault. But all they care about is these trophies that they get to hold up.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a question, Kyle. What was the biggest tournament you won in the seventh grade? Because I got cut in the seventh grade, by the way. What's the
Biggest
biggest
tournament
tournament?
that I won? I can't remember. I don't remember.
Exactly. Do you understand? You don't remember what, unless you won a city title or something like that,
Right.
don't remember. And these parents are so caught up in having their kids in the coolest uniforms and with the team that wins the most that they skip the whole developmental process. So you have your kid on a team, young, he's a role player. He plays on this team all the way through high school. He's been a role player his whole life. Then you want to tell him he's a bad basketball player because all he knows how to do is be a role player. It's your fault.
Yeah. 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 It's the lack of experience, man. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's some good insight, bro. That's some good insight, bro. I love that. I love that. All right, last question, man. A tip for athletes that are still playing professionally. What tip can you give them? You being, having your businesses going. What tip could you give them to prepare themselves for life after basketball?
I'm going to go a little bit further back. I'm going to talk about high school athletes going into college. Depending on the university that you go to, figure out what's a high quality degree to get. Ask questions, Google it, see what jobs will be here, see what jobs will be around in the future. Um, what was your major?
Psychology.
Psychology. You're utilizing yours. I know some folks, no offense to anyone, that were Africana studies majors. No offense to that at all. But why would you let a kid from the inner city come to college and get an Africana studies degree knowing damn well he's not going to do nothing with it? It means these
Right.
people didn't care about you from the jump. All they cared about was you being eligible to play, right? So get
Exactly.
around people that actually care about you. I got a sociology degree. I'm never doing anything with it besides putting it up on a mantle so I can tell my kids that they need to graduate. Um, these are facts though, right? Like
Yes.
basketball will end for you one day. Make sure that you have a quality degree. Also, be really, really good at networking. That was the one of the keys to me transitioning was the fact that I've always kept high quality relationships. As you can tell
Yes.
from being on here, I'm a talker. I like to communicate. So I've always communicated and kept in contact with people. And when I was making my transition from basketball into the next side of life, when I picked up the phone, things could happen.
Yeah.
So make sure while you're there, while all these people love you and they want to be around you, make sure you make those connections, make genuine connections. Ask them about their businesses, ask them about their families, keep in contact with them, message them on holidays. Do all of those things you need to do because one day you'll be done and you'll still be Lorenzo Wade to somebody or Zoe Wade to somebody, right? But there's another kid in number 31 now on the team. And there was kids 4 years ago on the team and you believe you're supposed to supersede them or jump above them on the totem pole of how these people feel. No, they only know you because you are a hooper. They do not care about anything else. Make sure you keep the relationships alive. And if you do that, you give yourself the freedom to be able to figure it out at a quality pace, but know that your network will be able to pick you up.
That's some fire advice, bro. That's some fire advice. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming out here and spitting knowledge to the youth, and not even just the youth, and the ones that are just, I guess you can call them the youth, the ones that are going through it right now overseas in the NBA. It all matters. It all factors in, bro. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, my man.
No, man, thank you. I appreciate you. We getting old. We're getting old.
Yeah.
We're getting old. I'm looking forward to seeing, your son's progress, your kids' progress in their sports and in academics and in the future. I think you have a quality platform. Um, hopefully it reaches the masses and folks understand how important um, real mental health is.
Yeah. Real
Um,
mental health.
real mental health,
Absolutely.
how important joy is,
Hmm.
because happiness is an emotion.
Yeah.
If you were happy all the time, then you wouldn't be happy, right? So you're going to need the good and the bad. But joy is something that doesn't leave you. And we need to be in search of that, figure out how to keep that intact. And these kids will be better off. So I think you're doing good things, and you're headed in the right direction, man.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Until next time, I'm definitely gonna have to get you on again. And good luck to Lil Zoe, man. I gotta start tapping in with him and start scoping out what he's got going on. And I hope that he continues to develop at a pace that is at a quality pace as well, bro.
Yeah, Zoe gonna be all right. You definitely need to check in on him know about mental health because he got to deal with me, and I'm a little off. So you you might you might know you might want to check on him. We got in the car after the game real quick. We finished, and I'm driving. I find myself getting ready to talk about the game, right? And I'm like, I pull over Chipotle. I said, bro, go ahead, go on Chipotle. I call my girl. I was like, hey, look, pick him up from the Chipotle because we can't do this today. Today's not the day. Pick him, get him from
Oh
the
man, you
Chipotle.
are a clown. Same old Zoe, same old Zoe.
Hey, it
Oh
is what it
man,
is.
I love it though, bro. Again, I appreciate you, brother. I'm gonna stay in close contact, man. And when I get out there, I'm definitely hitting you up. You already know.
All right, for sure, man. Thank you.
All right, bro. Yeah.
All right,
Love.
later.